Nearly everyone faces hardships and difficulties at one time or another. For people with disabilities, barriers can be more frequent and have a greater impact, and it is a global concern. Generalizations about disability or people with disabilities can be misleading. The World Health Organization states that disability is a term used to describe any restriction or lack, resulting from any impairment, of the ability to perform an activity in the manner or within range considered normal. 1.57% of 106.51 million Filipinos are physically disabled and occasionally struggle to gain access to public or private facilities. So why does this situation exist, and what are the root causes? As humans, we have the right to accessibility, but there are still barriers that PWDs face in their daily lives, including establishments and structures that are inaccessible to PWDs, making physical and architectural features part of the root cause of inaccessibility. Without proper compliance, it can reduce productivity of PWDs, especially those who are physically disabled. These structures partially comply with the requirements stated by the law. And what does Catholic social teachings say about this issue? Catholic social teachings do not exclude anyone from having their rights and freedom in the world, including those with disabilities, and we should be away from discrimination and non-compliance with accessibility. So what key principles from the CST apply to the situation? PWDs face discrimination in their daily lives, such as on the streets and employment, but we must understand that every human life is equal and worthy of dignity and respect. A society full of discrimination against disabled people offends their human dignity and right. Thus, this violates the mental health law and the constitutional provision that protects PWDs against discrimination. Public Act numbers 10754 and 9442 talks about expanding the benefits and privileges of persons with disabilities. This is to provide PWDs with support for their total well-being as an opportunity to be one with the mainstream society. Social injustice is also prevalent in institutions that disobey the requirements of the law. BP 344, Philippine Accessibility Law, is an act to enhance the mobility of PWDs. Partial compliance is not compliance at all. This partial compliance refers to places that create public utilities that only comply with the building code, but do not consider those that should fully benefit from these utilities, such as steep ramps for wheelchair users. A just society stands with people with disabilities and offers them with the same opportunities and respect equality with all people.
Now, how would we act or transform the situation? First is to create a pedestrian bridge with relief for the disabled, with both ends having facilities that are accessible for both PWDs and the able population. Having a view below that has a pedestrian lane that spells out RA 10754 or any law related to it. It could also be a street sign named after the law. We could also install handrails or grab rails that are insufficient at some establishments that are styled after the dash steel, where an adequate railing can bring comfort and provide safety for all people, especially those with mobility problems. And lastly, a low-floor, barrier-free bus that includes an accessible ramp, which encourage public transport operators to improve facilities to meet the needs of different passengers. But this type of vehicle is exempted to street roads and sharp turns. Now, the effectiveness of this are ideally for a long-term goal, but the process can only help spread awareness and empower the disadvantaged people. This would finally help open the eyes of the communities and the people to be more inclusive rather than being exclusive.